This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Students at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, returned to class today amidst heavy security after summer break. It was 6 months ago Tuesday when a former student armed with a semi-automatic AR-15 gunned down 17 students, staff, and teachers in just 3 minutes. Is one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. After the horrific attack, many of the students who survived the shooting became leading activists for gun control. In March, they led the historic March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C., where almost 800,000 people gathered. In May, 100 days after the massacre, they held a die-in at a Publix grocery store to protest its donations to gubernatorial candidate Adam Putnam, a self-proclaimed proud NRA sellout. And in June, they launched a national Road to Change bus tour where they registered young people to vote and to support gun control legislation. Their tour ended on Sunday in Newtown, Connecticut, the site of the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting massacre. They met with some of the Sandy Hook parents. Among the students killed at Stoneman Douglas High School was Joaquin Oliver. He was born in Venezuela. On August 4th, on what would have been Joaquin's 18th birthday, his parents helped organize a protest in Fairfax, Virginia, in front of the NRA headquarters. This is Joaquin's father, Manny.
We are in Fairfax, Virginia, and just in front of the NRA headquarters. Today is August 4th, and Joaquin will be turning 18, by meaning that he will be having a lot of fun and probably celebrating that he was ready to go ahead and vote. Happy birthday, dear.
That powerful protest took place outside NRA headquarters on August 4th, Joaquin's birthday. On Tuesday, I spoke to Joaquin's parents, Manuel and Patricia Oliver, who have started a new nonprofit called ChangeTheRef.org to promote the use of urban art and nonviolent creative confrontation to expose the disastrous effects of gun violence. I began by asking Manny about the protest in front of the NRA.
That day was pretty special. I got a call from our now good friend David Hogg. We fight together in this battle, and then he
one of the outspoken students now fighting for gun control.
Yes, he's one of the leaders of March for Our Lives. So David told me that they were planning a rally in front of the NRA in Fairfax, Virginia, and he was wondering if I was okay to go there with Patricia and Andrea and kind of celebrate Joaquin's birthday right in front of their faces. And I was totally okay with that idea. I think it was a brilliant way to have Joaquin making a statement in front of these group headquarters. So we did that. We went to Washington, then we went to Virginia. We did our wall number 9, and a lot of people was singing happy birthday to Joaquin. So it was
in front of NRA headquarters. Right
in front of the NRA headquarters, and it's interesting that being these like the headquarters, like the center of this whole gun lobby, if you want to say it that way, there was only like 30 people from their side protesting what we were doing. At the same time, there was like 1,500 on our side. So that gives you the balance that we see every single day, every time we go to different places, of how the numbers are divided in this nation right now. There's way more people in our side. That's for sure. And
it's not the first time you were in front of NRA headquarters. You went to confront the NRA in Dallas at their national convention when President Trump and Vice President Pence went to speak.
That was interesting because we had the NRA convention was in Dallas. So we were there a week before the convention to plan where we were doing our wall, which is an action of demanding rights, basically against gun laws. So when we were there a week before, Trump still didn't know if he was going to show to the convention. And for me, it was totally, I mean, why is he going to come here? Why is he supporting these people? And then when I heard the news that he will be there with Penn and they will be together empowering this group, that's when I added him to the wall. So the wall changed its graphic just because of his decision of being there. And I thought that, okay, now that you're going to be here, I'm going to use your image also on my rally, which is 2 blocks away from where you're going to be.
So explain your tradition now of making murals. You're an artist, Manny.
I am, yes, I love art. That's what I do, okay? I don't know how to fight in any other way. I speak and draw. And there's a creative process behind these walls. It wasn't planned to be happening, of course. Our future should be way different than what we're living right now. But we come to these places, we congregate people that follows our movement, and then we start drawing on not permanent walls images of Joaquin. This is a way to give Joaquin a voice still these days. And I do graffiti art style, so a lot of stencils. I research deep where we're going and what's happening in that location. And according to that, I will play around with some elements and make sure that Joaquin's words are pretty loud and clear. We decided, me and Patricia, that Joaquin, besides being a victim, that he is, sadly but true, he will be an activist. And this is a way to do that. This is a way to bring the legend of Joaquin right here, right now, very loud and clear, as one of the kids that is leading this amazing movement.
So talk about the first mural and what it said.
First mural that we did said, we demand a change. And I thought about that because
this was in Florida.
This was in Wynwood, Florida, the design district. And I thought about that. It was very recent to the tragedy. And I was very sad. And there is a balance between being sad and being proactive and mad and being very activist. And sometimes sadness limits your emotions. So that wall, it was a very hard experience because I had no idea where I was going. I do remember that I had a hammer on my hand, and I was between being sad and mad. I just hit the wall. It was a drywall wall, fake wall. And that sound of me hitting the wall made some of the people that were there run away from the room, because we were all expecting that a shooting could happen anywhere.
It just sounded like bullets.
It sounded like a bullet, which is amazing. I discovered that same moment a way to impact people, which is, in other words, convincing fast, and I like that. The option of impacting people instead of convincing people. So then I hit the wall 17 times. And then I had sunflowers, and I placed those sunflowers in those holes, like somehow honoring the victims from Parkland. So that became like the process of each wall. And the walls have been evolving. Now there are more. Now it's a combination. Now I'm not that sad. I'm more mad than sad. I became a little more a better researcher of what's going on. I've been educating myself. How do I fight this?
Manny Oliver, the father of Joaquin Oliver, one of 17 people, 14 high school students killed 6 months ago in the Valentine's Day massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. When we come back, Manny and his wife Patricia will talk about Valentine's Day and the day they became U.S. citizens along with Joaquin. It was Inauguration Day, 2017. For our music break, we turn to a video put together by a family friend. It features Joaquin lip-syncing to some of his favorite songs.
stankin'? What the fuck stankin'? I won't die. Believe in life after love. I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough. No. Do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say.
That video put together by a family friend. It features Joaquin Oliver lip-syncing to some of his favorite songs. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As students at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, return to class today after summer break, we're looking back at the Valentine's Day shooting massacre 6 months ago, when a former student gunned down 17 students, staff, and teachers in the first in just 3 minutes. We are speaking to Manny and Patricia Oliver, the parents of 17-year-old Joaquin Oliver, who died in the shooting. I spoke to them Tuesday. Manny talked about Joaquin's final hours alive.
The night before the tragedy, and this is a very nostalgic story. It's really, it hurts, but I'll share it again. Joaquin asked me to stop by and buy some flowers. For his girlfriend, because it was going to be Valentine's Day. So we bought it. And then day after, we when I dropped Joaquin in school at 8:30 a.m., he said, "I love you, Dad. I love you, son." And he was holding the sunflowers. And he was supposed to call me back to let me know how it go. I mean, we had that kind of relationship. So I told him, dude, you make sure you call me back to see, so you can share Tori's reaction with the flowers that we bought last night. And he never called back. That was the last time that I had a chance to speak to my son. But I do know that Tori got the sunflowers. So he had time to give them to Tori.
Patricia, you're actually wearing those sunflowers, is that right? You wear the sunflowers around your neck?
Yes, that's true. Tori made us a little necklace that together you can see a heart. So she made it half and half for each of us with one of the little flowers that she received that day. That was very nice of her, very nice.
And you have one of them right there.
Yeah, it's right here.
And so she's sort of encased it in glass or
Yes,
plastic.
in an epoxy.
One of those flowers.
So these are the flowers that I bought with Joaquin the night before. So the question here is, or one of the multiple questions that I've been asking to myself is, we did the right thing. We were raising our kid in a house full of love that will buy flowers for Valentine's Day. Him and his dad were buying flowers the night before. What was going on in that other house? What was the whole point of putting all those weapons together and those bullets together? What's wrong in this society that is an option? That while me and my son are buying flowers, some other people, that could be your neighbor, could be your family member, it's just planning this terrible thing just to finish people's life.
You won't even say the shooter's name?
No. No, I don't need to.
No.
And you know why?
We don't need that.
Because there's many of them. So we cannot, this is not only an issue that happened in Parkland to Patricia and Manuel and Joaquin. Right now, while we're talking, there's another shooter planning to do this. Actually, maybe right now, someone just died because of this. So giving a name to a shooter is not necessary. It's not fair to give numbers to victims and give names to shooters. So that's the reason why we don't, it's not that it's hurting me at all. I mean, it's just not the way to handle this situation.
So what is the answer?
To solve the problem, well, thank God we have a democracy that I trust, and there's a system, and we can vote for the people that will be able to fix this, hopefully. Besides educating ourselves in how we do what we do, we also have been educating ourselves in who we should trust and who is capable of fixing this. And I can tell you something. I've been searching for this dream team that could solve the problem. And the answer number one, or rule number one, is that if any of these guys that is planning to be representing us is receiving money from the NRA, you're out. You're not cool. You can't represent me because you don't have an impartial way of thinking. You are working like for a cartel. And as hard as it sounds, when you have a cartel, you put money into politicians' pockets so they leave the law alone, so you can keep on with your business, make more money, and kill more people.
In fact, right after the massacre, what made Parkland so different is how active you all became so quickly. When others, and particularly those involved with the NRA, like Donald Trump, are talking about thoughts and prayers, even the governor, Rick Scott, you all were mobilizing, the kids, led by the kids, and saying nothing doing. I remember at the March for Our Lives, one of the posters was tots and pears, and it was pictures of tater tots and pears. It said, like, no, that's not where we're headed.
Right.
They went to Tallahassee. You all went. You were involved with the legislation, writing the legislation. Is that right?
We were involved as much as we agreed with being part of it. We have something in common. 17 families were going through pain. We lost our kids. Some people lost their parents. These are not only kids. This is 14 students, 2 teachers, and 1 coach. So we agree in some of the solutions. We don't agree in others, but we respect each other a lot. So I haven't been to Tallahassee. Patricia hasn't been to Tallahassee. We're not those type of, that is not the way we're handling our fight. We respect what they do. I haven't been to Washington. The only day that we went to Washington was to draw a wall, to be an active graphic message sender.
Now, you all, both of you, became citizens years ago from Venezuela, right? You moved to Florida. Talk about Joaquin becoming officially a citizen, your son. When was that?
That was last year, January 20th, 2017. He was very, very excited to become an official citizen because we came here the day after he turned 3 years old. So in his heart, he was more American than Venezuelans because he just learned how to grow up in the American culture, even though we have at home our own culture. So he had the mixed combination of both cultures in general, which was very good for him. He was very proud of that. And that day, he was so excited, he was so emotional. So he made like a review from when we went through during all these years, the process that we were growing as as a professionals.
And let's make a point of what this day was, what you're talking about. January 20th, 2017, the day that Joaquin became an American citizen, was also Inauguration Day for President Trump.
Yeah, that was an special, unique day, because we became citizens very early in the morning. That happened at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30, and at 11.
Where were you?
We were at the place that there is an immigration center, that they have their huge room there where they were celebrating the citizenship. We were quite maybe 200 people receiving the citizenship, and they play a video with the current president at that moment, or at that time exactly, was Obama.
Because that was the morning.
Yeah, it was
Inauguration Day.
8:30 in the morning, at 8:30. So he was still Obama in power, and he gave us the welcome to America. So that was very exciting.
And 3 hours later.
And 3 hours later, we had a new president.
And the three of you became citizens that day?
Yeah, we became citizens because Joaquin is a minor. Joaquin was 16 at that time, so we were automatically, the three of us, we were citizens.
Talk about graduation day, Patricia.
Well, graduation day was a very hard day because, you know, every kid, especially Joaquin in my case, was just dreaming about that day. So he was like, you know, any other family. We were planning about future, about schools, about where to go, how we're going, what do you like most, and you know that just it didn't happen. So he was very committed to get to be going to that date, and he loves to write a lot. So he made these notes once where he's saying, once I get my diploma, I will see straight to my mom's eyes and saying, I made it. So we were at home, we were debating, you know, about graduation day. So we decided our daughter, Manuel and me, we decided that the person that it was the best one to be receiving the diploma was me. So I gotta prepare myself emotionally. It took a while, it took something to be there. And I said, well, I have to do what I have to do. I have to make Joaquin happy because I know that he will be very proud of me being up there on stage receiving the diploma. But we also decided to not only receiving a diploma, we have to make a statement. We have to take advantage of the, you know, of the moment to make people understand that this can be happening again and again and again. So that's why
Talk about what you wore.
we decided to make this jersey because Joaquin was very into sports, and we decided to make a jersey to make the statement very clear, and that was a goalie shirt, a goalie jersey shirt, but it was saying, "This should be my son."
So there's the T-shirt of you. You're holding up his diploma.
Yes.
And
they frame it.
Your yellow T-shirt says, "This should be
my son."
My son. 2 weeks after the massacre at Parkland, President Trump urged Republican and Democratic lawmakers to pass comprehensive gun control measures and accused Pennsylvania Republican Senator Pat Toomey of being afraid of the NRA.
Think of it. You can buy a handgun. You can't buy one. And you have to wait till you're 21. But you can buy the kind of weapon used in the school shooting at 18. I think it's something you have to think about.
We just signed that.
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it a lot of consideration, and I'm the one bringing it up, and a lot of people don't even want to bring it up because they're afraid to bring it up. But you can't buy a handgun at 18, 19, or 20. You have to wait till you're 21. But you can buy the gun, the weapon used in this horrible shooting at 18. You are going to decide. The people in this room pretty much are going to decide. But I would give very serious thought to it. I can say that the NRA is opposed to it, and I'm a fan of the NRA. I mean, there's no bigger fan. I'm a big fan of the NRA. They want to do right. These are great people. These are great patriots. They love our country. But that doesn't mean we have to agree on everything. It doesn't make sense that I have to wait till I'm 21 to get a handgun, but I can get this weapon at 18. I don't know. So I was just curious as to what you did in your bill.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
Why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
Go to the NRA 5 years ago.
Yeah. It's a big issue right now. A lot of people are talking about it. But a lot of people are afraid of that issue, raising the age for that weapon to 21.
So that is President Trump saying, don't be afraid of the NRA.
Yeah.
Did he do any of this that he's talking about?
Well, I love it how he points at people, like blaming everybody. And I love also the way he says, I'm going to have to think about this. Like, dude, there's nothing to think about this. This is happening already. After that, he was at the NRA convention empowering this group. He has never been in Parkland. By the way, I don't need him to go to Parkland. I don't think he's gonna.
You know, I mean, he never
that is
came
another
to Parkland,
culture.
Florida.
Never came to Parkland. I invited him publicly to Parkland. I said, now that you haven't invited me to the White House, let's do this in another way. How about you, in one of those trips to Mar-a-Lago, driving 30 minutes or 25 minutes to Parkland, and I want you to spend 5 minutes in Joaquin's room, in Joaquin's empty room. So maybe you have an idea of what's going on in many houses and many families around the nation. Of course, that was ignored. That's fine. But,
You put that invitation out because Mar-a-Lago is
Absolutely.
pretty much just down the road.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, definitely.
By the way, that invitation was in all media. He got that. He ignored it. So, but he knows I'm not a pro, and Joaquin wasn't a pro-Trump person at all. And I have readings from Joaquin that.
Can you share any of Joaquin's writings?
Sure. I have something right here that I could read you that is pretty impactful. So, okay, guys, I've had it. I want to ask every one of my true friends who support Donald Trump if they could live without me. If I vanished today, would you be happy? Would you be okay with that? Not even just me, but anyone being discriminated by your president. Would you guys be 100% okay with your immigrant friends never existing in your life? And those who choose to stay out of it are just as bad. If you stay quiet, you're supporting him. So fight for us and we'll fight for you. Love us and we'll love you. Take us in with open arms and we'll make sure we make the best out of our stay here.
And that's the words of your son, Joaquin Oliver.
This is my son, Joaquin Oliver. So whoever thinks that me and Patricia are leading our own fight, they should know that we're leading Joaquin's fight.
So that was a tweet of Joaquin's
This
in
is
the midst
Joaquin
of the
writing,
whole
yes.
debate on immigration
Well,
and Trump's
yes.
attacks on immigrants.
Yes. The other one that I have shows, which is before that, also written by Joaquin. This is dated 12 December 2013. Dear U.S. gun owner, I am writing this letter to talk to you about how we're going to solve this gun law movement. Most of you have a problem with the idea of a universal background check. Why are you mad that there's a background check? It's for your own good. Maybe you're fond of having crazy people with death machines. You shouldn't have anything against background checks if you're innocent. Thank you, Joaquin, Coral Springs. He was 13 years.
And finally, Patricia, your thoughts as you head back to Florida, what this period, this 6 months, if you feel that you are beginning to heal, if that's possible.
Well, it feels that it happens just yesterday. So I think that's I've been meeting some other people in these same circumstances, and I think every day is a different day, and I see from them that, you know, they're just reviving the moment like it was a minute ago. So I think we have to go, we have to keep going when we are doing that. It brings you, or bring us some relief that we feel that we're doing something for other kids and from other people, because we are all suffering of this terrible situation that is the lack of gun control. So that's what I think about talking about me, that it makes me feel better in a way, that I can do something for somebody else.
And Manny, this 6 months for you. Also, your daughter, because Joaquin has an older sister, Andrea.
Yeah, the 6 months for me is just the amount of time that I've been fighting, and it's not enough. There's two ways of looking at time in these situations. Oh my God, it's already 6 months. It's a short time to get used to this situation, but it's also been very short for our fight. Since a week after what happened, I've been, and we go back to what we carry, and I carry this little stone that I found in Joaquin's memorial across the school, and it goes, "We will change the world for you." And that's what I try to do every single day.
Manny and Patricia Oliver, remembering their son, Joaquin Oliver, one of 17 people killed 6 months ago in the Valentine's Day massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Students at MSD returned to the school today after summer break. Joaquin would have been 18 on August 4th. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. When we return, 559 children remain separated from their parents, separated by the U.S. government. What will happen to them? Where are their parents? Stay with us.